We're telling some ghost stories tonight with Allen Sircy with Southern Ghost Stories, and we have our first caller of the night, so let's get right to Teresa. Teresa, thank you for joining us. Go ahead.
Hi. I love this ghost stuff.
Me too.
Now, I'm in between Gallatin and Portland, and I used to do karaoke at a bar up here on 31W, you're going toward the Mint gambling place.
Yeah.
And it used to be the old hitching post, but now it's the County Line Saloon. And Michelle will probably kill me, but back in the back room where I done the karaoke, I mean, you could take pictures of people, and you'd see like this bearded guy in behind them, and then like at closing time, you could hear somebody walking because it's wood floors. You could hear somebody walking across like they got a pair of boots on.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm back there by myself shutting everything down, you could hear a woman go, and I'm like, okay. And I'd be sitting at the desk shutting the computer down, and you know how you get that feeling somebody's behind you?
Mm-hmm. Well,
there's nothing but a wall back behind me. And I'd look around, and there wouldn't be a soul there. And I'm like, okay.
Did
you like the music? Do you like to hear the karaoke, I just start conversating. And I said, okay, we're going to be good tonight, we're not going to do nothing. And then every time I'd go in, the door back there to cut the lights on, I don't know, you just had that feeling, that eerie feeling. But it didn't seem like it was evil or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say, all right, everybody, I'm here tonight. Y'all listen to music, So, I mean, we had a few come up there and do their little thing, and they got some responses, and you could hear it on the voice recorder.
Yeah. That
they would literally answer, because I was sitting there listening. And it's just wild. And you've also got this road right up here from me at the railroad track, South Tunnel, and I'm sure he's probably heard of that. If you go down through the tunnel to the other side, you can take a picture of the hillside on the right, like if somebody's up there sitting, and you can see the lady. And I guess she got killed by a train years and years and years ago. But yeah, there's some good ones up here.
Wow. Well, Teresa, thank you for calling in and be part of it. This is fun.
Thank you.
Have a good night. I mean, this doesn't shock you. You deal with this every day.
No, I mean, South Tunnel, they say the lady in white's a story.
Yeah.
I mean, the story behind the story is, I'm not sure about the woman, but Nathan Bedford Forrest was a big cavalry commander everybody knows about that fought for the South.
Mm-hmm.
Well, John Hunt Morgan was kind of his, not equal, but Forrest was mostly like Mississippi, South Nashville, Brentwood, Franklin, Murfreesboro. John Hunt Morgan was more north, like Portland. He went to Kentucky, and he actually blew up a train in South Tunnel, a Union train. So that's kind of the story about South Tunnel, is John Hunt Morgan blew up trains in the Civil War. The lady I've heard about, I don't think it ties in that story, but I've heard from a handful of people about the lady in white.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
You were also telling me about the city cemetery and some tunnels.
Yeah, and that's even better than ghost stories. Tunnels, secret tunnels. Every kid loves that.
Yep.
So they say after the Civil War, Fort Negley was abandoned, and during that time, the KKK started meeting up at Fort Negley. Well, they had allegedly dug tunnels. They say there was a big cave system underneath the city cemetery in part of Fort Negley, and the KKK knew how to access those tunnels, and they would escape when the law came looking for them from Fort Negley down to the city cemetery. And there's Judge McNary. It's a big family vault for the McNary family, and they would hear people sing. They would hear voices down there. The kids would go take picnics and have someone talk to them inside the tomb. Thought it was a ghost, but really it's probably someone that knew about the tunnels.
Wow.
Yeah, there's stories about the Union. There's a guy who would bury the dead down there, and he died. They threw him in one of the graves, and like a real big rainstorm came and it washed him out. So yeah. If you go to see the cemetery, you'll see that some of the headstones are kind of tilted because the ground's so uneven there.
Interesting. Hey, we have Terry on the line.
Okay.
All right, good evening, Terry.
Good evening.
Go ahead.
Yes, I have a story. It's right in Russellville, Kentucky, off of 431 as you're coming into town. It's called the Sexton House. And the story goes that the little girl was standing upstairs looking out the window, and lightning struck and killed her. And due to the many onlookers looking for the little girl, her ghost in the window, they had to board that window up because it was causing so much
oh, wow.
complications right there on the street. But it was called the Sexton House, and I was wondering if he had heard about that.
Yeah, actually, I did a little write-up. I run 2 Facebook pages. One's Tennessee Hauntings, and one is American Hauntings. And I wrote a little blurb about that story for one of those sites. I think it's an American Hauntings, but it could be Tennessee Hauntings. Yeah, but after that happened, they painted over the window, and you can't see the girl anymore.
I tell you what, we're going to take a quick break so I can get a drink of water. We'll be right back.